This conference will now be recorded.
Is it recording? You're recording already?
Yeah, all right. With that being said, I'd like to call this town board meeting to order. Please rise to pledge our flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Well, we have guests here tonight. This is the section of our town board where people have an opportunity to address the board. It's not a back and forth session. People that speak to us are here to give us information. If there are questions that the board feels they'd like to send back, that's how we're going to do it, just so there's a forum for information. With that being said, who would like to speak first?
We can start, if that's okay?
Sure.
So thank you for your time today. So basically we're here on behalf of the marina. And hopefully, so unfortunately I was under the impression that you had some background information when somebody joined the hearing for the board a few weeks ago now. But the good news is that we got a lot of feedback for that meeting, which actually could be valuable for us too. We got a chance to respond to that. So basically, hopefully you have three documents. One is the original application to get plan development zone. The second is our responses to the comments that came out of the public hearing. And then you should also have the recommendation from the review board, which they did a few weeks ago. So I don't want to belabor everything. Hopefully you all had a chance to read those things. I don't want to belabor that. I did want to sort of kind of call out a few things, just highlight a few things. So we're talking about 3 lots by the marina. One is in the village, 2 are in the town. They used to be zoned as commercial business, but now they're zoned as South Lake residential after the rezoning that took place in 2011. So in terms of the responses, I think the key, so I kind of, you know, this is a 2-step process, and I get there was a lot of consternation about the plan was conceptual, it wasn't fully baked, and it's hard to sort of make this decision based on a conceptual plan, but that's the process. 7.3 of the code says that. So we did try to address some of the concerns that were brought up. The first one being the sort of conformance with the area, the density, just the neighborhood. And we just like to call out that, you know, right next door, there's an existing condominium.
Enter your access.
There is a New York State boat launch with something like 30 trailer parking spots. There's a village pump house. There's Steve's business. And then we have our own business, which is, you know, we have over 100 slopes. We have over 150, 200 parking spots. We've had a running green in there for many years. We have a storage area, a mechanic shop. We have lots of traffic coming in and out. So I think that's very much kind of in line with a very high use area, which kind of conforms with having a plan development. The other key thing that was brought up was heights and setbacks. So regarding the aesthetics of that area, we certainly appreciate the importance of that. Again, you know, it's good feedback for us to understand, but you know, we walk by there and drive by there every day as well. Certainly take that into account when the design is submitted. We also feel actually that, you know, that area right now is really an old rusted building in a sea of pavement, and it really could use some investment, and we plan to do that. Parking was also raised as a key concern. We fully understand that. We work very hard to manage the parking that's there right now. People did raise concerns about the parking being on the road on Mirror Drive there, and they did defer to you guys that that's really nothing that we can control. But we understand that, and it's an issue. But you know, for what we're doing, we're going to look at the code, make sure we have the parking spots for any kind of units that we build, and for any kind of boat slips to make sure that the accounting works. So that's, again, at least a known issue. But certainly if we didn't have the 150 parking spots there, if it was turned back into turned into a residential area, I mean, that would be a big problem for us also in the town and village, not having those parking spots. So we have no plans of taking those parking spots away. We want to make sure we have enough parking there. So Bill raised issues around stormwater management as well, which is a very valid point, and we will address that in the final plans. The few rights came up as well of the condominium owners that are there right now, particularly in building 3. So I guess we would just call out that, in the original offering plan, it was noted there was going to be another condo building next door there. So it's not like it's a surprise, and it happened a lot later than we thought it was going to, but it was always part of the plan there. But we certainly plan to respect the view corridor of the neighboring condominium building as well. And then there was some other smaller things which I'll just skip over. Affordable housing was raised, so we did raise the fact that, as you all know, we did donate 3 acres of land on West Valley Road for that project over there. We didn't build it or run it, but we did donate that land. We don't have any plans at this time to make that affordable housing in the marina. But Darcy did let us know about the new code that you have to have a certain amount of affordable housing commensurate with the project, the plan development project. We certainly plan to adhere to that. Or, if that original, if the existing affordable housing is being put into service at West Valley doesn't count as credit, so we'll certainly address that. So those, I think, are the highlights. I guess with that, I just would want to, I will mention that Bill would come up to me afterwards, and he was appreciative of those comments, and he felt that what we raised addresses the concerns that we had. As you know, the vote was 6-1 to approve the plan development, so to recommend, I should say, the plan development for you guys to consider. I thought the letter was very thoughtfully written, and I would also like to say that the work that they do is amazing. In fact, they volunteer their time to do that. It's fantastic, so we appreciate their time as well. So with that, if you have any questions that you'd like to ask us or clarify.
First of all, thank you for bringing the information to us. Really a second time from the public hearing, but it's a great outlet for people that join us on the screen to hear it in a setting other than the public hearing. So it just shows that the information that's available is out there. Probably the only thing I might add is that there's been no talk of timeline or anything. I fully intend to offer this board as much time as they need to be comfortable with the decision that's ahead of us. Tonight's session will help us in that venture. We have not met with the village as of yet to find out how they sit on it. But I fully expect within the next couple months, we'll have a good idea of what we expect. Yep.
And would you vote with the village, or do you vote separately at your own meetings?
That's actually a good question, because I don't actually know. All I know is that what was presented to us is that this isn't a majority vote type deal where, because there's 10 of us, 5 in the village, 5 in the town, a 6-person yes isn't the answer. So collectively, there will be a point where we need to sit down together. It's not really answering your question, but that's where we're at. Yep.
Well, I'm sure Lorraine and Nita will keep us posted as well.
Sure.
So if there's any other information you need.
Very good. Thank you both.
I did have one question, because this is a lot of what we've been hearing, is can you explain the current process for securing a slip in the marina, and then if you plan to change that?
So we don't plan to take away any slips. I think that's kind of a concern, because, this is also, as you know, shortage of slips is pretty dire. And we've had a couple of cases where, we're selling multi-million-dollar camps, and like in the old days, there would be a boathouse that would go along with the camp. It doesn't exist anymore. And for many years, you could easily get a slip, and it wasn't a problem. Now it's a bit of a problem. It's just very limited. And of course, I should say that. We don't, the people that are there now, we're not going to take away their slip. Just for those new condo owners could have a slip to go with it. I actually thought originally that that would be attractive, but we actually looked at the harbor condominiums, and I think there's only one or two people in those buildings that have solar. So it's not like people are looking for that magic combination. To answer your question, briefly, we're not going to take this away from people.
So you think the process will stay the same, like a wait list? And is there a plan, now everything's conceptual, but is there a plan to add more slips? Or can you add more slips, or that's a very rush?
Yeah, that's something we'll think about too, partly because of this reason that there's such a crazy demand. And then local people too, local people want to pass this. Now someone comes along, it's really good. So, but we have to look into what that means from a C point of view and all that kind of stuff. So that's.
I think parking will be a bigger problem.
Yeah, no, the more we keep adding, the more that will. We do have a lot of space, but one of the things we want to do is we want to pull away some of the blacktop that goes all the way to the lake right now to create more of a green buffer there. So that's already going to sort of take away some of the existing parking. But I think we can do a much better job with the parking that's there now. I mean, more efficient. Also, just beautify that. You're right, with the parking and parking also stuff. But you know, the good thing is this is not an immense piece of land, right? We'll come with a project presented to the review board that will have everything there that we plan to do. We're not going to do something now and then, 2 years later do something else, because we will look at holistically. And there's some improvements that we can make also with what's there now, maybe, and how the marina is sort of set up, if you like, where the gas pump is, to try to make it flow better, so there's less boats kind of backing in and getting in awkward positions. But that's something we'll have to do. That's what we're going to do. We didn't want to get too far ahead of ourselves until this is all done. We'll address all those things. Same with the stormwater management issues and other things that are typical project development type issues.
Thanks, guys.
Oh, we're coming. I'm here for another project, but I'm a longtime customer and SOA member on the lake. And I just wanted to say we fully support what these guys are doing. They've been great stewards of the lake for a long time, very easy to work with, very accommodating in all of our experiences. And I think that piece of infrastructure for the town is very important to everybody on the lake. And I think if it gets improved, and it should be zoned properly, it should be modernized at this point. I just wanted to say that I think it's a good project.
We said no back and forth, but like, if you keep it to 30 seconds.
Peter?
Right, yeah, so my name is Peter Foland, and it's no secret that I've come out publicly and opposed this request to rezone this piece of property owned by the marina to a planned development district. Tonight I wanted to talk to you about what I see as the irony and the disconnect as this project moves through the approval process. And what I'm getting at is recently the Joint Review Board voted to advance the recommendation 6-1 in the affirmative to send this project to the legislative bodies. And in their advice and recommendations, they have a paragraph where they talk about the public comments and emails being duly received, noted and considered. And what I wanted to say about that is that I just find it ironic that there really wasn't more said about that, or that it wasn't taken into consideration, despite the fact that they said it did, because I've obtained all of the public letters and emails on this case ever since it started. It might be inappropriate for me to ask, but I'll ask it anyway. Does anybody know how many there were? I'll tell you. There's 21. Does anybody know how many that were in support and in opposition? 20 of them were opposed, and 1 of them was in support. You know where the 1 letter of support came from? The applicant. He wrote in a public comment letter and basically went through and basically challenged and or disputed most of the things that people wrote in about. So I just find it ironic, that the Joint Review Board is saying, oh, we've duly considered all the comments, and yet there's unanimous support against the project, not for it, but against it. The second thing I wanted to point out was, and it's a disconnect. I see it as a disconnect. The second thing I wanted to point out was there was a case, a court case. It was actually an Article 78 lawsuit about 11 or so years ago, where the Northwood School, they were the beneficiaries of someone that was kind enough to donate them a home. And the home was in the South Lake Residential District. And so they applied for a certificate of occupancy because what they wanted to do was they wanted to use that home to house a student advisor and the advisor's spouse and also some students. And the town denied them the certificate of occupancy. And so the Northwood School, obviously unhappy about that, said that's not right, and they sued. They sued the zoning board of appeals. They challenged it, the zoning board of appeals. That didn't go anywhere. So they sued the zoning board of appeals. And when the case was being argued, what the town's attorney said was, well, the zoning district, the South Lake district, doesn't really allow for a permitted use like a group home or a boarding home or a dormitory. And that's essentially, they claim, is what the Northwood School wanted to use that home for. And they actually won. The town won the case. What's ironic about it? What's a disconnect about it? Well, in the town's argument against it, they relied on some of the language in the zoning code still exists today, and they relied upon that in their argument to argue against it. And I'm going to read it to you. Still in there today, you can see it. It's section 2.3. The objective of this district is to maintain its current character and intensity of development. What's the irony? Well, two of the pieces of land that the marina is requesting to turn into a BDD are in the South Lake District. The same district. So the irony is the applicant and the review board apparently see two new buildings consisting of 24 units as less intense development than a single family home or a two-family home. I don't understand it. It doesn't make sense to me. That's what the zoning code is there for. But yet the town used that in their argument to argue against the Northwood School being able to use that home to house a student advisor and her spouse and some students. And now the Joint Review Board is saying, no, we don't think that's the case anymore. If you want to put 24 units up, that's okay. That's not really intense development. So those are just the two of the ironies and the disconnect that I see with this case. It doesn't make sense to me.
Thanks, Peter. Thanks for addressing us with your comments. So I think we're going to move on to the next people who will be here.
With the Olympics.
Well, I know that these guys are here to present about the dam. Yes, that's good. Hillary?
Okay. I'm Hillary McDonald, I'm a shore owner. This is Kevin Betty, who's also a shore owner. And I've been working with Derek on the dam. I think you've all heard. I think you have heard about it in the past. We are in the process of embarking on some repairs that need to be done. We've had engineer reports, 2 different reports. We've had quite a variety of estimates, which Kevin can speak to about it. And we've been busy raising money. The shore owners board of trustees has given a considerable 100% participation, and I believe our work at a total of 80,000, and then we've gone around to the community, and if all the pledges come through, we're getting close to zeroing in on close to 200,000. The whole project will be at least 250,000, so we'd like to ask the town to consider joining us in this partnership with the dam, which is important to the entire lake and the entire community for these repairs. If we could be so bold as to ask for 50,000 to complete or hopefully get close to the finish line, that's what we're here to propose.
Yep, so, and I'm an engineer, a Clarkson engineer, civil, and I'm recently new to the board of the SOA, so I've gotten involved. And originally, the estimates to repair the dam were well over $1 million. What we think we can do is inject it with grout, and we have a seepage problem under the dam. A lot of the vegetation has grown in, and we have a lot of potential for failure of the dam, and that could be catastrophic for the lake. The lake could drop 8 to 10 feet in elevation. So we're trying to be proactive. The new board of the SOA is all about water quality. Our main initiatives are the dam and the septic systems, and trying to figure out how we continue to maintain as high quality water as we can. Being that it's the upper watershed, whatever happens in the lake affects downstream. So the invasives, we've been on top of. We're happy to report that those efforts have been very successful. So we think we've been good partners, trying to be stewards of the lake, and the usage of the lake, just, I don't know about your marina, but we think it's well over 30 to 40% of other residents that utilize the lake. So we know that you have a lot of costs that you're dealing with for a lot of very important things, and we've asked about 20% of the costs and work in partnership with you to try to keep the infrastructure up to stuff.
Thank you very much. And Hillary and I have had a couple of discussions, and thank you for coming to back her up. In any respect, our board has talked on at least 2 occasions, and we've actually floated that figure of 50,000 around, and certainly we're going to figure out how to come up with it, that's for sure. But other than being a good partner with SOA, I think that dam represents 2 as important issues for us. As I was explaining to Hillary today, just on the lower side of that dam is where the sewer line runs through there. There's 2 major manholes right there. A failure in that dam could be catastrophic for the town, for a sewer district outside of the village. Coupled with that 6 to 8 feet lower shoreline, what that would do to property assessments, and I mean, it's no secret what the lake does for our tax roll. We understand it. So we want to be a good partner, and we'll get there. I think every year we find ways to work with the Shore Owners Association in different ways. One is this new septic law that is slow to really grab the people it needs to, but I think we're going to gain each year. There were 2 new places we pumped out this year. Excessive rains this year led to failure of some systems that is certainly not familiar or not common. Can't fight Mother Nature in that. But I do think we're gaining ground, and this damn dam is an issue right now, and we'll come to a good conclusion on it. So we look forward to being a partner. We've got a little creative. We've got to be creative in where to find the money, but we'll get there. I did talk to Hillary this afternoon about a timeline that we're not really sure of. The last conversation I had with Mr. Donnelly was that there may be some holdup on maybe some tree cutting or something that has to go on for access. Would that be right? Yeah. So you might see some of it start this fall and then next spring get at it earnest, or is it?
I think right now our biggest holdup is funding. So Hillary and I have been working on our neighbors to contribute. Your commitment would be there from a funding standpoint. And then it's, like you said, the tree cutting and scheduling the grouting that's going to happen. And it's, I think we have a pretty good plan. It's really preventive maintenance. The dam is a low-profile gravity dam. It's not you're reading some of the papers. There's some real dam problems out there. This one is low priority from DEC standpoint, but we think keeping it in good condition is money well spent.
I think you're certainly over the hill because you have DEC permits and APA, so you're set to go.
Correct.
We start our budget talks as early as the first week of October. So by the Thursday after Election Day, we have to submit a budget. So we're going to know very early in November. But well, you guys tell me, am I confident saying we're going to figure it out?
Yeah, we'd like to get going because actually we'd rather do some of the work in the early winter. Spring is very difficult because the water's really high. So we'd like to get after it, and that's why we're hard to raise it.
So it's high on our list, bear with us and give us a few weeks.
Great.
Thank you.
All right.
Thanks.
Thank you.
We also. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
So there we are, losing your audience. Thank you. Yeah.
I just want to thank the board very much for your attention and for not pursuing the cell phone tower. I really appreciate it. My family appreciates it. And our neighbors appreciate it.
You know, it was an education process for us. And like you said in the beginning, there's no definites yet, but there's enough question marks that the board really felt it wasn't worth the risk there.
I got an education in it too. I thought it was the greatest thing since sliced toast in the beginning, and then the more I studied it, it didn't turn out to be such. That's all I want. Thank you very much.
Thanks,
Larry.
Peter,
That's it.
I don't want to make you feel like you got to sit because the rest of this meeting is watching.
I understand. Is it still open or is it closed?
No.
I should have said, although it's probably obvious, I want to continue to urge the board to reject this request to rezone the marina, what they're asking for, to a planned development district. I've been very clear about that. Okay. All right, thanks, everybody.
Thanks, Peter. Everybody left but one.
There's just something, an equal opportunity to speak. Yeah.
Fred's here.
Yeah, that's
Hey, I don't know why I thought that was Jason's.
Yeah, I just want to thank the board and our town clerk for coming to Saranac and meeting this part of North Elk.
That's what we're waiting for right there.
Great.
Yeah, good deal.
Once we got that, we're here.
Yeah.
Well, he wanted to sneak in because he sat right there. He said, no, I sit behind Eric.
Mark, I suppose I should offer you the same, you don't have to sit here through the rest of the meeting, that's for sure, but I hope attending was enlightening.
No, I think it was. I think I heard what I needed to hear. That's great. Thanks a whole lot.
Thanks, Mark.
Hey, Mark, how was the sound? Were you able to articulate what was said?
Yeah, it was a little shaky for a little while at the beginning, and then it got perfectly fine.
Okay.
Especially,
As always, thank you.
especially you all around the table, no problem at all. The audience from where the applicant's representative spoke, a little tougher, but not too bad. But you all around the table, loud and clear, no problem.
Well, Rich spoke really fast, like faster than Emily.
I knew she was going to say faster than Emily.
Yeah.
There's no such thing.
I just wanted to say slow down.
Yeah, when we talk about speed, speed.
Anyway, thank you, Mark, and give our best to Bob Hafner, who's got one knee that's all banged up.
I sure will. Thanks a lot. Have a good rest of the day, everybody.
You too.
All right, thanks. Bye.
All right, so we got through that. I'll take a motion to approve the minutes from the hearing and the regular meeting of August 1st. Unless you want to do them separately, I'll take a motion to accept them both. Rick, second. Dick, any further discussion? All in favor? Aye. No one opposed, carried. Now, where do you suppose Jason is? Oh, that's right, he did tell us. And he was gonna come when he's done.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I bet he's not here until, hopefully we're done.
Yeah. Hint, nudge.
All right, we need to set a couple, we need to set a couple public hearings. Do you want to read that, or do you?
Well, the first one's the ambulance.
What's that?
The first one's the ambulance. All you have to do is set a public hearing.
Yeah, we are,
Because it's not really a resolution, it's a
Right,
resolution you're gonna approve at the public hearing.
right, we just haven't said, we just got to set
Right.
it up. October 3rd.
we are going to set up a public hearing for firefighter and ambulance exemption on October 3rd at 5:15 PM. And then we have to set up a public hearing for supplement, it's a supplemental bond resolution for the Raybrook Water Project, in setting a public date hearing of the same, October 3rd at 5:20. But I would like to read the supplemental bond resolution. Whereas in accordance with an engineer's report dated 2017, prepared for the town of North Elba and Essex County, New York, by Ivan Zadral Associates, the town board of the town proposed certain water distribution system improvements in the Raybrook Water District, including replacement of the existing 150,000 gallon water storage tank with a new 250,000 gallon reinforced concrete storage tank and replacement of all substandard distribution piping, and together with fire hydrants and reconnection of all existing water services in order to elevate the entire district facilities into compliance with New York State Department of Health standards. And whereas following a public hearing on the subject matter and pursuant to a bond resolution dated August 8, 2017, the town board authorized the issuance of serial bonds of the town in an amount not to exceed $2,212,600 to finance said improvements. And whereas the town received finance from the New York State Environmental Facilities Corporation in the form of a Water Infrastructure Improvement Act, it was a grant in the amount of $1,327,560 and a bond anticipation note issued by the town to EFC in the amount of $885,040. And whereas the town board of the town has determined that due to increased construction costs and efforts to provide water supply to the Adirondack Correctional Facility and the Federal Correctional Institution Raybrook, additional funds are required to finance said improvements. And whereas the town has submitted to EFC a request to modify an EFC funding agreement dated August 2nd, 2023, relating to the additional cost of said improvements. And whereas the estimated additional cost of said improvements is $2,859,625. And whereas the total estimated maximum cost of said improvements is $5,072,225. Now therefore, it is hereby determined as follows. A public hearing shall be held on October 3rd, 2023 at 5:20 PM in the first floor meeting room at the North Elba Town Hall for the purpose of hearing all persons interested in the increase in the maximum amount to be expended for improvement of facilities of the district. Is that enough?
Yep, it says I put it in paper.
Okay.
But you have to sign this one, I'm saying it.
Yeah, we all do.
Yeah, we're going to all of us.
That's what I sent mine. I have to go today, to go tomorrow morning.
Under new business discussion, in the documentation you were all sent the proposed amount for the windows. As you know, we finished the side of the building with all the brickwork and brickwork, chimney, work underneath windows. All the new brickwork is done. That was to the tune of $292,000. Before we could move forward with, as you remember, when we took water in the judges' chambers, we looked for a period of 2 years, thinking the groundwater was coming in through the footers. Long story short, the water had been coming in and around windows at various places and running down a 15-inch gap between the exterior brick wall and the interior framing of the town hall, which resulted in rusted through steel lintels and warping from water sitting, freezing, thawing, and such. The one bad side where all those windows are faces central garage. And we took one window section to do a mock-up. Long story short, the cost per window to fix all this with new steel lintels, new brickwork, new waterproofing is $32,000 per window. It's amazing, but by the time you tear that all down, support it so all the 2 floors above it can be secured, I guess it's not hard to realize that price.
How many windows are there?
There are 10 on that side, with one being finished now, except for the waterproofing. So 9 times 32, basically, we're looking at another $300,000. Now, as you remember, this brickwork, we took care of through fund balance. We decided not to go back to the taxpayers. It's money they've already put up through various things. We most likely will not be in a position to do that next year, which means a bond. In any respect, we'll talk about that in consecutive months as we get into budgets. But I'm just here to kind of warn you, that's what we're looking at.
I might be cheap now.
Well,
in comparison to if we wait and do it 5 years from
and
now.
have extensive damage.
Yeah, have to replace steel.
Yeah, I met with a tin knocker, a metal person that came and looked at that finish. Long story short, we're gonna need a design engineer to redesign how Lupini finishes that and gets it ready for copper flashing or stainless or whatever we're gonna decide on. That's underway right now, so that's an added cost, but it will be nothing compared to this major cost. So really, this is just here's what we're up
2,000 per
against.
window is a little steep.
What's that? Yeah.
Those are good. Let's go to land. I think they're cheaper.
And that's not even considering new windows.
Right, that's just.
Which is, you'll remember, the village had offered 50% of their New York Power Authority credits to help us with that. And that will be much appreciated. Okay, next item under new business is a proposed pet policy. And I know this will probably take some discussion, maybe on a couple different occasions, but.
Supporting documentation.
Yep,
Yes.
yeah, that's easier. I'll tell you what, I like that. Every time I can pass a piece of paper, I can win it. Yeah. In any respect, this has really come to light because, traditionally we've gone to 1 dog in our presence, to 2, and now 3. I've had response from 2 of our employees on it. And I think we should just kind of share concerns like, well, I'm gonna let you guys go first.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah?
Well, so Derek and I already talked about this a little bit, and I just said, if it's improving people's work life, then it doesn't necessarily bother me. And then to Derek brought up was that customers who come in are aggrieved by because of allergies. And I said, never.
Well, me, I have to use my inhaler all day.
Yeah, so I never thought of that aspect of it, and so that was something new to me. But at the same time, like, I have to say, because I don't have allergies, like, it doesn't bother me, and I would rather have people be happy in their workplace but it's all people being happy. I didn't know one of the allergies was Lori either, so if she's not happy, then that's not my.
I'm real happy. They're not allowed in my office.
No, I think that number one, in the different levels, we can go into different levels of it, it's a distraction. And whether it be in a vehicle, whether it be in an office, whether it be in a meeting, and it may make, and I'm not disagreeing with you, and I'm not saying how you support it, but if it does make their work life easier.
Yeah.
I can see that, but I think the distraction on different levels, which I just said, outweighs that. And the distraction includes for incoming vendors, citizens, or whatever, and Lauren. I mean, that's, Laura's in there, in that list, or anybody with allergies is in that list.
Exactly. I can't walk up the staircase because there is a huge, whatever dog gets carried down the staircase. Can't go in the elevator because dogs are in the elevator and everywhere Terry has to clean up hair.
Well, the thing is, it's not,
That's
technically, it's not the hair, it's the dandruff. That's technically what it is. It doesn't matter, I'm just saying, it's for technical purposes, it's the dandruff. And different dogs and different cats, it is like personally, I don't have a problem with cats' allergies, but there's certain cats, they get within 10 feet of me. I got you, Lori. My eyes just go. But the point is, it's a distraction. We're running a business which affects many people. Again, I'll use it for the 8th time, distraction. That's my feeling.
What if there's something where it's not, it's a policy, it's this, but then there's also a policy of like say the same apply to a child. Right? Like you had this emergency situation where your kid was sick and you didn't have any daycare, or like, I don't know, there was a vacation, you could ask for permission for a day.
I think that, I'm not against that, but that's not gonna help the person that wants to bring their pet to work for whatever reason. Either they have to, or they want to, or whatever. I don't think that's really, and probably, I'm just saying, we have this policy, and if something were to happen catastrophic, and they did bring their pet, whether the dog, cat, ferret, parrot, whatever, one day, probably nobody's gonna say anything. Maybe they should, but they're not going to. So I think that part of it, I don't care.
And then my only other thing, which I also asked Eric about, I said, does this apply to village employees? Like this is a building policy? Because I think there are village dogs.
Okay, well, that's the next point.
Quite a few years ago, and it was removed because of people bringing the dog. There was a sign outside town hall that said no pets allowed. No pets allowed in the building.
Yeah.
People used to license their dog and leave their dog outside on a thing that they could tie their dog.
Time or whatever.
And the only other thing I will say, which is, which Mike's not on the call, but would be important, and Mike very rarely makes good points, but he.
That's being recorded.
She doesn't care.
He brought, and believe me, when I read this, I thought the same thing. And it's just that you can also really easily get an animal certified. So I would not be surprised if all 3 of the existing dogs, all of a sudden become certified.
Yeah, no, I've seen that too, and I know what you're saying. Yeah, I mean, I've seen it a number of times.
But at least they went through that step. And so again, maybe that's what I was thinking to the policy part of it. So then maybe it's like your dog cannot distract you. It's like dealing with it instead of saying no. Like, because let's say they all go get these therapy permits. And so then it's like, if the dog is in the office, please keep them in the office. Be aware of the people who have allergies. All these other things. Or maybe it's certain breeds, because you can't say breed if they're.
I think if you read the New York State law that's cited there, it does not include online certificates.
Okay. So that's covered in what was put in.
Yes. Okay.
So how
That's
would
what
you,
was put in.
so there's different certifications?
Yes.
What is the?
There's comfort animals, there's.
You can't just say you are, you have to actually have.
But you can get online.
You can go online.
You can go and do it. That's what people have dogs on a plane.
But it's not a thing to put over the dog or whatever. Good.
No, it takes a special permit that goes through training, and
type of thing. And I think that anybody who feels, I mean,
That's what this law is.
yeah.
Okay.
And I think that by saying, if somebody says, well, I have no recourse, I don't want to leave it home, I'm sorry, but maybe you shouldn't have a pet. I'm sorry. It isn't in your workplace. If I decide, if I had a dog and I brought it to where I work and all these people are coming in to see me and this dog running around, I mean, it's like we're equated to, where did Aldershot come up with having cats there?
That's exactly
Yeah.
why I
I
can't
mean,
ever.
there's 2 cats in every store. Well, now we have 4 in Lake Placid.
Every overshot has
Be Tony one.
Maybe I was just debate about cats, and like, I was waiting today, and I went to Ocean to see the cats, he's like, you keep going to Ocean to see the cats.
But no, I think that if you can't make the proper arrangements to have the cat or dog caged, watched, tied out, whatever you want to call it, and therefore you think you have to bring them to work because you can't make those, it's not our problem.
I
I'm
feel
sorry.
bad that we are kind of being held as if we have to defend ourselves in this. That's the awkward part. Nobody's owned, if you take everyone that has animals in that building and multiply it times 10, that's nothing compared to the amount of animals I own in my days.
Right.
Okay?
Yeah.
So nobody loves animals. But it's becoming, I don't know if it's a crutch or whatever, and I hate to deny employees that, but there's different degrees to this thing. Like, we have a setting down at the greenhouse where Sharice, if she wants to tie the dog up at the greenhouse, that's fine. We have a building there with 3 cages that never gets used.
Right.
Now, if, say, Haley wanted to bring her dog down there and her breaks, she gets to go see it, but there's something about that town hall, the animals have got to leave it, and
It's a public,
Except it has to be sanitized after the dog.
it's a public place.
That building has to be sanitized.
And
yeah, Terry.
And this policy should extend to our other facilities, not just the town hall.
Right.
What prompted me to get behind this was a truck driver from the town said, I'm going to bring my dog. When I have to plow snow during the winter, I'm going to bring my dog with me.
Yeah.
And I said, what are you talking about? Well, if we can have pets, I work all day and then I get called out, the poor thing's home alone, so it can ride with me. It's like, what are we starting here?
And like I said, if you can't leave that dog, at home, either caged, tied, whatever, that's not on us.
It's just a sad turn of events.
And like you said, we all, none of us have anything against pets.
I used to lunch hour for 3 years to run home to let my dog.
I mean, Jocelyn just got a new puppy, there it is, that's where I bled 2 days ago. I love dogs.
I think if we are gonna move ahead with this, though, we need adequate time for them to adjust.
Oh, yeah, no, absolutely.
And I would suggest January 1.
Yeah, at the latest.
Yeah.
At the latest.
And
And the other thing I would suggest is just changing this so that it says the building, like it's talking very much about North Elder employees. I think it needs to reflect it's the building decision.
and it's
Like everything.
Well, it's 2 different things, so it's an employee policy.
Yes,
It's a building.
it's 2 different policies.
It's 2 different
It's an
things.
employee policy and it's a building.
It used to be a building policy. We used to have a building policy.
it applies to not only the
Probably
building,
5 years.
Craigwood, I mean,
Any town building,
Yeah.
with the exception of one little building that's what it's for. I'm just saying, that's a building.
I just thought I'd help out the policy people.
Yeah, no, I think to Lori's point.
I
we
mean,
should have
I can't imagine plowing in a snowstorm and another dog's on the side of the road and the dog that's in the plow truck races across the snowplow driver.
Okay, so it's a pet policy for employees,
Employee pet policy.
and then it's a building and vehicle.
Should just say a building policy, that's it.
No, I think, well, we can say in the employee policy, no, in none of the buildings or vehicles.
So now we're back to Sharice's situation.
But she brings it out to work.
Well, no,
They
there'll
all
be
have
nothing in
e-bikes
vehicles.
all day long.
Right, so she's got to, if she ties it out there.
But she would be
I took
more or less
breaks on
exempt, and
that.
everybody else would be a loser. We have to make this fair all the way around.
If she's, well, I'm just saying as
Yeah.
as an option, okay? Well, we talked about a little bit, you mentioned Mike Alley, okay, she's down at the greenhouse. There's the kennel. Right there, not being used.
You have to clean the kennel, like
Well,
it's inspected and.
Yeah.
Well, no, that's secondary. I'm not disagreeing with that secondary. The point is, if she needs to bring her pet to work, and, you can't put it in the truck, you can't have it, there's the kennel right there. If you have to bring it to work, put it in there, water and food.
Yeah.
There's your answer. That's your alternative.
But do we wouldn't heat the kennel.
We heat it all winter.
Because of the water. Is that why?
No,
Why? Just in case.
Because
no,
if
because
the dogs.
you can't pick up a dog any day and put them into an unheated.
So there it is. There's your.
Even though it was picked up outside.
But once it gets used and it's inspected,
Yeah.
a person that uses it has to clean it.
Yeah, exactly.
There's the policy for me, because we say in the policy, any building with the exception of the kennel.
Will we refine the language or does it need to be? Is there anything about that?
Yeah, this seems to be refined to say, there's an employee policy that probably gets like added to employee handbook, and then there's a building policy.
Right.
That goes to village employees as well.
Right, it should, well, that's the building policy.
Yeah.
So Rick, do you get to hand this off to the policy committee then?
Well, if you give me feedback, I can certainly. Did you all get the electronic version?
I must have, because I did read it.
I'll send it out again, and if you just make,
And then the only other thing I would say is like maybe, this is like, let's call this the employee one, is that there's a mechanism in which they turn this in. Like if they have this CR.
right, I can attach that.
Yeah, and say, and this should be held with human resources, our human resource office, because they need to.
No, they have to be a licensed dog with the town of Belleville. If they're a service dog, they have to be licensed. I have service dogs licensed.
What do you
Blind?
do? What do you do for certificates?
Well, because they have a certificate, like even a blind man
Well,
has a
then
certificate.
we're saying, we're going to reference New York State law, and online
It's
doesn't
like
count.
past a certificate, has to pass a whole, they have a certificate.
Right. It is.
So it's
So
a
is that
dog
your
that's
like New York State
basically,
certificate as versus a Acme dog training program? Yeah.
And then
it's like, it's
held with
then that's New York
human
State's Eggs Market.
And like I said, January 1st is fine.
So then this will be back on in October.
I'll send it out to everybody with what I think I've heard, and see what.
Okay.
Even the elementary school has that. The principal brings her down there.
I just think, like I said,
That's been out.
when I walk in for the first time, and there's these little kittens in Aubusson, I go, this is a chain.
I never
And you
got
guys- and I thought it was just like the manager maybe did it, and then I realized every store has it.
Yeah, they do, because they have a mouse problem. And every time, I used to go to Bushon probably every 2 days.
Yeah.
And I've never gone to Bushon, I drive all the way to Cookwood.
Yeah, no, that's the point, I couldn't use the word, it's a distraction, but on many different levels, definitions.
Okay. Even though we already covered this in the work session, I just wanted the public, that'd be Kathy and Fred, to know about our noise ordinance exemption for homestead development. I'd already forgotten the date, is it the 16th? 14th. Where a crane will be needed to finish setting the last building there. And it's just a one-day exemption. It's really, I look at it as just a formality. It's a convenience so that they don't have to pay the exorbitant crane fee to come back. And
again, it's one
right. The folks at Homestead Development are notifying all the neighbors so they're aware of it. So it's not a surprise drop down. So again, we've already okayed that, but this is just a.
Do you want to make a motion for the record?
Sure, I'll accept a motion.
If you want the time frame, it's 6:30 a.m. to 8:30 p.m.
6:30 to 8:30.
So.
Second, Rick. Any further discussion?
And I recuse or abstain or whatever phrase you want to use.
All in favor? Aye. No one abstain?
Yes.
Yes, one.
Yeah.
One abstain.
One abstain.
Yeah.
All right. No one opposed. I already mentioned our first responder exemption. That is a public hearing on October 3rd.
And Deb she did redo the language. She
Yeah.
just sent it to me, I put it forward, but it was basically exactly what she had said. And we had talked about.
Good.
We had a meeting with the ambulance the other night, and they were all excited about this until I told them that they couldn't take the $250 and the exemption. So it's going to affect fewer and fewer people.
Yeah. Like I told you, only 2 in Willsboro stepped up for it because it's state, right? The 2.
Yeah, and like I said, the fire department does have a couple couples, so it'll help them.
Right. Yeah. And I haven't done the math yet. I'm going to set it up on Excel so you put in your assessed values.
Yeah.
But if it's town, village, and
School.
it might be worth it. So either that or I have to upgrade.
Rick, do you want to bring everybody up to speed on the improvements we have coming at the toboggan chute?
Sure.
There's some paper on it. You got it.
Yeah. So I met with, I guess last year when I went up to watch the run open, I was appalled at the work lights that run down the side of and they were all different sizes, all different wattages. It looked like, some junkyards. But anyhow, so I was told that it was in the works. So I met with Matt St. Louis, Matthew, keep wanting to go Andrew. And he had everything. He had presented this twice already. He had everything spec'd out and priced out. The only thing he didn't have spec'd out were how many lights and what was the coverage. So we went through an extensive process. I thought I'd bore you with that, but the company actually set it up in there because it's going to be 6 feet high and we want to have X amount of distance. So they actually set it up in their warehouse just to make sure that and the chart is in there that they sent us.
I think that's the coolest part. You're not even talking about it. What is the shine? 9 feet?
20 feet.
20 feet.
20 feet by 9.
Okay.
Right. So it won't be, for tomorrow. It's going to cover 20 feet up and down the run and only 9 feet across. So there's no light pollution beyond the toboggan chute itself. It's all right there. So unlike now where there's just bulbs.
Right.
And then he brought up the point that last year there were several complaints how they played the music at the toboggan chute, which was new to me.
Oh yeah, it's like a really crackly radio station. I kind of like.
It's somebody's cell phone.
Oh, I enjoy the nostalgia of it.
Well, I guess it worked fine until somebody decided to get into a little argument with somebody and some bombs were dropped because they put the speaker right down next to the phone. That's how it's played.
I feel like that every time I've listened, I've been there to play music, it's the radio station.
So it's relatively inexpensive for a new amplifier and some speakers. And then he just wanted some floodlights at the end of the run that point out onto the lake that cover prior to the new lights taking over.
And I think we only have 2 of the new ones for going out there.
Correct, there's only one now.
Yeah.
So, but it's one of the original LEDs he was saying. So there you can light up the house across the lake if you like. So these will calm things down. These are all dimmable as well.
Okay.
Don't give that part of your presentation to the appearance committee tomorrow.
And make sure the dimmer is included.
Yes.
So it's on time. Okay.
There's actually 3 settings.
Because we know what happens when the dimmer is not installed.
Okay, thanks for taking the time to look into this. Sure. And like you say, Matt had it all ready to go prior.
I feel like we're gonna have to set a policy on what stations are acceptable.
Oh,
Like, because their goal is probably to play like a Pandora or Spotify or something.
you know, that's,
Because there's Wi-Fi there, right?
yeah, right.
Yeah.
I had to write that policy for my old job. It's not about you, it's about the customer.
Yeah.
So just because you like angry rap, it doesn't mean that your customers do. So,
Right. Good deal. Okay, moving on. I just wanted to, I don't need to bring it to your attention because I think you guys brought it to me on how much stuff we have at the lacrosse fields that needs a home, storage or get rid of in any respect. I made a call to Greg Peacock that got the sheds that are at the beautification part of things. He deals with the Amish folks. And we looked at a few prices for different size sheds. Today, the best size I could get for the money, no windows, just storage, would be a 10 by 20, 10 by 18 or 10 by 20 for under $4,500. That's with barn doors at one end, which lets you either drive mowers into them.
Right.
While everything's being used in the summer, we could leave mowers up there. Or when the season's over, put everything away.
That's it. Barn doors on one end.
Yeah,
What would be the increased cost to have? I mean,
not much to have barn doors at both.
I just think that might be a possibility. That way, put stuff in the middle and.
Put it this way, $5,000 takes care of our needs.
I like the idea of having.
In and
dual
out
access.
easy.
Now, does that mean we pay retail for them? I know I hate that question. But
No,
no, great.
yeah,
And that includes delivered?
no, delivery fee.
Okay.
But like we did with the last one, it
Right.
was a few $100.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, that's metal roof. The only difference is it will be the 3rd different kind of siding. Like we have log siding up there, we have texture 111, all the same color brown. But the metal roof is kind of imperative. I'm not sure where, it might be right inside those gates where all the junk is right now. But it's something we should consider, whether it's ARPA or LEAF. That seems to be.
Yeah, I think that, like we had talked, I think, and to bring it in the whole scheme of things, when we talked about this, we want that to be a nice area.
Right.
And right now, with everything there, the trailer, the nets, everything, and just grown up to, that can be taken care of too.
Right.
It's just not a nice area.
No,
Will one shed handle all that junk?
most of what's there now, because I bet half of it needs to go.
Yeah.
What about thinking big picture master plan and just going right for a bigger building and getting rid of the other two?
That's certainly potential, because I did just ask Butch. You see, lacrosse owns, with the local lacrosse company, they own those other 2 sheds there. Yeah, So
knew they would want
one thing I have to research is that there's adequate insurance so that we're named additionally insured, because if there was ever a fire, I don't want to have to. So there is good thought on your side to suggest we need to do something bigger. I just don't know when. Yeah,
I would say 10 by 20. 10 by 20.
so I'll follow through and get some prices. It's just that I needed a go-ahead
Yeah, oh yeah.
in order to order.
I just like the idea, you got one end, stuff, it's in there, you never get to it, you can't get to it, whereas if you got.
Is it imperative now? No. If you want to talk about it in February and we get it for spring.
Right, I mean, that's the whole, that's part of the point, is the fact that, a couple things I'll say later, it's like, we don't use that area in the winter.
Right.
So if, how it appears after the next 6 weeks or whatever, we don't care
Right.
until we get to spring.
Right.
So,
Because we are going to have to do further improvements, if we will, over at the pickleball
well, that's,
courts.
I got a couple things on that.
Like something out of the rain, for instance, if people are up there. Benches, water fill stations. So we've got more work to do.
Yeah, I know, that's.
Is this a good segue for you to go into that?
We can, I mean.
Or did you want to do it on a committee?
I'll do it on the committee, of course.
Okay. So then maybe I'll turn things over to Kathy now. We'll do her section.
Can you hear me?
We got you.
I'm here. Can you hear me all right?
Yes.
Okay. So I, as usual, emailed everybody the budget adjustments. Did everybody get a chance to look at them?
Got them right here.
Okay, so,
Yes.
I mean, I think they're pretty self-explanatory. The biggest one is the new cloud permit, agreement for the building department for the $10,750. And I think that, that, I put it from fund balance, so I don't know how much we've discussed this, if at all, and what you know, but we can't, even though that department has brought in more than we budgeted for revenue for the short-term rental permits, we can't appropriate that revenue against this expense because we haven't met 100% of the general fund revenues overall yet. And we don't have any one-time revenues in the general fund that we didn't originally budget for. So that's why I'm taking it from fund balance. Does that make sense to everybody?
It does. Can we make sure that it's reimbursed?
Well, at the end of the year, all the revenues that the general fund makes goes back to fund balance.
Right.
So in that sense, it will be reimbursed, assuming that we exceed
A little bit of a
100% of
rhetorical
our,
question.
yeah.
So I guess the
So
message
anyway.
is this: show us the money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right, exactly. So there's that. And let's see, what else? There's the beach. The season's over with the beach for the personnel, and we exceeded the budget there by $5,000 for the year. I'm taking that out of fund balance again for the same reason as I explained above, because we haven't reached our 100% revenue. I will be billing half of the total cost of the beach back to the village. So we will recoup half of that increase. The next one is the 4 bottle filling stations that we ordered from Burroughs.
Yep.
And I was told to take that from the Community Tourism Enhancement Fund.
That's right.
So that's the 7,500. The next one after that is the same thing we've seen every month, is the community beautification, Sharice's department, for her seasonal employees, her gas, ordering more flowers, etc. for the main street. So even with, yeah, even with appropriating the revenue, we're still ahead with her area. And then, yep, and then next after that is the park district, the youth commission, personal services. We went over budget with them a little bit this year too, but we were kind of expecting that. And then the new hires that we have for helping out at the park around Craigwood and the park district, we have to amend the budget for them, and that's going to be something we're going to see going forward probably until they're off the books for this year.
Right, I believe this was the last week for Kyle.
And then, yep, and then the personal services that when we built the budget, we put extra money in that line for where Butch and Chelsea are getting paid out of.
Yes.
So I think right now we have more than enough there to cover the excess. I'll keep an eye on it though. I'm not sure how much we'll be able to use, depending on how long they stay on the books. Not
Right.
this seasonal guys, not Chelsea and Butch.
No, I get it.
Yeah. And then the last one is the bill that the village of Lake Placid sends us for their annual costs of supplies for maintaining Raybrook. This is over and above the contract for their services. Budgeted, I think, $5,000 for the year, and they billed us 10.2. So we have to take that out of fund balance. When we budgeted for Raybrook, though, at the beginning of the year, we had when we approved the budget for this year, we had an additional line in Raybrook called other budgetary uses, which was $20,000. So even though we're taking the 5,200 out of their fund balance, we're going to be returning 15,000 back to fund balance at the end of this fiscal
I
year.
think you better keep track of every nickel you got in Raybrook.
Yeah.
Well, at least it's consistent. That one up double right along with it.
No. Yeah. Thank you, Kathy.
Yep. And then, hey, just while you guys are still on the phone and I'm here, the personal services, there's 3 of them on that spreadsheet that I sent you.
Yes.
The first one, oh gosh, I feel bad now because I'm forgetting. Oh, Lee Joplin. I didn't know what you wanted to classify him as in terms of like, is he going to be a greenskeeper? Is he going to be? Okay.
He'll be skilled labor.
He'll be what?
He'll be skilled. But he's full time, so he doesn't fall into that.
So that's why I'm asking the question, because laborers, they don't have, I mean, you as a board are classifying some individuals as skilled laborers versus unskilled laborers. But Barry, when he was working for us, he was a groundskeeper. He was specifically classified. That or a park attendant, I can't remember which now. So, but the point is, Lee Jopling is replacing somebody who was in a non-competitive position. So is that your intent, is that he's going to be non-competitive versus a laborer? And it's only a distinction that Essex County makes.
I don't think I understand the question.
I get it, I just don't.
So,
Need more information.
bottom line is, if we call him a laborer, I don't have to send his application to Essex County. If we call him a greenskeeper, groundskeeper, park attendant, whatever, it's non-competitive, I have to send his application to Essex County. That's basically the only difference.
But I don't think I want to classify it as a laborer.
No.
But if it's, yeah.
Let's
What's
call
the
it
downside?
park-attendant.
Is it civil service and somebody can compete?
It's non-competitive. You will not have to take a test.
So,
Oh, so then send it.
yeah,
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
so let's
So if you
call
send
him
it
a
to
park.
Essex County, what's the downside of sending it to Essex County?
I didn't look at his application, so I don't know what his experience is. Essex County could kick back and say he's not qualified for the position. But
He worked
I
at- He
never,
worked at Saranac Golf Club. He has experience.
Yeah.
okay, so are we
Yeah,
gonna
his
call,
resume is substantial.
so
Yeah.
is he a greenskeeper, a groundskeeper, or is he a
Yep.
park attendant? That's
Park attendant.
park attendant, basically, they do everything.
But he's a groundskeeper.
He's not going to be doing anything besides regular.
So,
Yeah, I would.
We're gonna use him,
Yeah.
park attendant.
I like the park attendant.
We're gonna use him everywhere we need him.
Park
that,
attendant.
let's call him a park attendant then. All right, that's what it is. He's a park attendant.
Here we go.
So that's all I've got.
title,
Park cars too.
that's right.
All right. I'm done, unless you have anything for me.
No, you're off the hook.
All right, thank you. Have a
Thanks,
good night.
Jack.
Thank you.
So I'll make a motion that we approve the budget adjustments.
Second,
Emily? Sure.
all right.
Gotta get you a paper.
Any further discussion? All in favor? Aye. Carried. Thank you.
Would you like to make a motion that we
Approve
approve
the,
the personnel actions?
sure.
No, we didn't, I just didn't do it.
What do we get?
Yeah, okay, that's fine.
I feel cheated.
You, did we approve the audits?
And then, yeah.
We're doing that now. We want to approve the
I
audit.
have to make a motion to approve the audits.
Second,
Not sure good one. Sorry.
You have your chance.
any further discussion? All in favor? Aye. No one opposed?
When I run for office, I want to say, I put in.
Yeah, and I get more than you get. You look at the breakdown.
What do we got for committee reports?
First of all, I don't know if Rick knows this, I just found out today. Saranac, that price of the tandem that went up so much,
To 320?
Yeah.
part of that cost, it's replacing Mark's truck. And Mark has that special salt, salt,
okay.
what do they do? It measures the salt and everything.
GPS thing?
Yeah, GPS.
Oh, it's built into the spreader?
Right, and it's got different piping and all that.
Yeah.
That's the truck. So it didn't go up, I mean, that's all of
Still
it.
have to do that?
Yes.
Isn't that what the upcycle?
Yeah. But it's because it's Mark's truck.
So it's specialized.
Yeah, so $11,000 for that truck.
What is that?
Okay.
I mean, it still doesn't help, but you know, point is, that's, I mean, it's, what was the last, what we say, 295? So it's
Right.
25,000 more, 11,000 of that is that piping.
So you feel better?
I feel better. Still over 300,000, I feel better.
Good.
So that's that part.
It's not a fire truck yet.
Not yet. That's another 100,000. As far as, I met with Sharice and Steph Quinn the other day down in the court area, and she had some ideas, not a lot. I mean, in other words, just put some pots down there. She may include in her budget, well, not her budget, but whatever for that, because the fencing is black pots. It'll look better.
Yeah.
You know, as opposed to, she has gray pots, but black will look better. We looked at it, and I talked to Ken again also today. I said, Ken, I'm gonna need some help with coming up with a definitive parking area. And he's either gonna do it this fall or in the spring to make it like put matting down, everything.
So where?
That's what we gotta talk about. But one thing is, when you pull in, right when you get to the thing, he's gonna take down some more trees. Make it look better, open it up a little bit more.
What are you talking about?
Court area, pickleball. Cut down some of those trees, open it up a little bit.
Yeah.
And we'll come up with a definite area for parking. I mean, I assume both is gonna be to the right, maybe a little bit to the left.
Why can't they park outside and walk in?
Well, there's enough room. There's enough room for them. And plus that access.
You're going there for exercise.
You shouldn't.
Mind walking.
Well, one thing that came up was, okay, and you mentioned it, was for inclement weather, it started raining. They got their cars there. Yeah. Get a car, we don't need a building.
Okay.
Or cover it, we don't need it.
Yeah, but don't you think that, going back to my master plan, the purposes for commercial grounds, do you think it would look better if there was not parking there? I mean, then it's like all green space and the parking is below, because it all connects.
Yeah, but,
Like you're throwing cars in the middle
but
of
however,
green space.
okay, that is going to be used, that area, obviously, during the summer, during
Events.
during cross events and everything, okay? Let them park in there, that way you're not taking away from parking. It's hard enough in there to park in, when the cross is full. So that's my point with that. And we can always, there will be a gate there. So we feel that in non-lacrosse times, that you should park in the lane.
Close the gate.
We should lock the gate.
Yeah, but it's like now gravel and not grass or green stuff.
Yeah, but I mean, it's not gonna be extensive. I mean, we're talking, as you get into the area, off the access road, I was thinking maybe a half dozen cars. Not a lot.
Right.
And I told him, that Jim was coming to hydro seed it, so we need it done by the time he comes. He says, no problem. Probably a fair amount of it will actually get done this fall in the transition period. Gonna get to the point where we have to stop.
Yeah.
So, and, what else was there? And Steph Quinn had a good statement, which I never thought of, but I think it's important to think of it, to have it become a park. Have that park persona, not just some courts and stuff like that.
The feel,
Look
the
like
way
a
it
park,
looks,
yeah. Yeah, and I forgot to do it last week, and reminded of it this morning. I'm gonna get a hold of Brad and see where their source of their benches are. Because I'm thinking 4 benches, 2, you look at the courts in between.
Yeah,
Right there, for benches, for people.
I think next week the gates are all coming.
Yeah, that's what he said. And Kenny's gonna help him unload it if he can, if he has the time.
Oh, with a forklift?
Yeah, and forklift, because rather than deliver them to Plattsburgh, bring them down, Lee's thought is drop them where they're gonna go.
Yeah.
Drop the material where it's gonna go. And that's a lot easier.
While you're ordering benches, we ordered 2 for the town hall.
Yeah,
You,
exactly. They run materials.
oh, and speaking of the town hall, looking terrible. Derek had touched on this the other day. The new sign,
Yeah.
it's been, I don't know if you realize it, I didn't know until somebody pointed it out to me. When they hang the election sign.
Well, we can't let the village just do what they want to do.
It's all inked up.
Yeah.
So I was thinking if we could do something about that. Laura did that?
Yeah, and I think Laura's in the conversation with Laura about coming back, but she said she had to take it down, right?
I think she talked to Kathy about it.
And she would have to, which is not the end of the world, she has to take it down.
Okay, yeah.
I thought she said she retired.
No, how did you, what, did you talk to her? I just wondered. Because everybody's telling me she's
She
retired.
she retired, and then I saw Dan Gallagher said something about, was having a sign crisis for his new business, and I said, well, who's doing your signs? He said, Laura Walker. I said, I thought she retired, because I hope she didn't retire. And he
Maybe
got,
she just selected,
yeah,
which is fine.
so, yeah, he got me with the last one. She
Okay,
did.
no, that's fine. I don't want to see her retire. Like
So
I said,
then,
she's
do you
not
want
gonna
me
work.
to contact Laura?
Yeah, they, Ellie, is, what we're looking at is, the benches basically that on Main Street.
The ironworks?
Yeah.
I'm not sure, that's composite material, that sign, so I don't know what can be done.
Fill it in, or
Yeah,
something.
you can fill it in.
It should be able to fill it in and paint over it.
Yeah.
But yeah, and were you gonna talk to Russ about the airport sign?
Oh, yes.
See, the thought was, if they want, even less new, if they want something bigger, better, then okay.
So let me tell you about a little,
Yeah, she go to the
little tradition there is at the airport. I'm willing to be part of it. It's called Aloha Friday. Do you know about Aloha
I
Friday?
read it somewhere.
Yeah, everybody wears a wild
Right.
Hawaiian shirt. Now, that'll be good till the snow flies. but,
Yeah.
but it's catching on. Everybody that goes down there on Fridays.
Okay.
What else was I gonna say about Russ? He's been giving away scenic flights. He gave Dimitri a couple for prizes this weekend. Rotary, I think he's done something to donate to Rotary. You know anything about that? Yeah. Anyway, he's gonna be involved with the community, which I think is great.
Now, how much, we know Russ was the front man, did all the negotiation, most of the negotiation. Now, how much is he here? Is he here?
Almost all the time.
Almost all the time.
He took off this weekend for Connecticut. He'll be back. In fact, I got 4 phone calls from Georgie Fortune, so I gotta arrange that meeting. In fact, I'm gonna tell Russ, put him in a plane, go up and explain to him different conditions, why you would have to fly over there or stay away. Russ has been good about telling everybody, but
George Fall.
well, I even offered.
Yeah. No, I was wondering, because, I expected somebody like that to be there, to do things, to negotiate and like that. And then once it's done, maybe stick around for a little bit and make sure it's good, but I think it's great he's here all the time.
He's been here since we signed the lease.
Okay. No, that's
He's
cool.
in the process of buying a home right now.
Okay.
Do you know if the combination to the gate changed?
It's, okay,
The
1432.
very first one.
1432.
Okay. The reason the ambulance was asking
Because it goes by the runways. One runway is 14, one is 32.
they were wondering if with all the new, Larry was wondering because of all the chains and everything that went up, did they change the combo?
No, and they always knew it.
Yeah.
So it's the
Right.
same.
So if nobody's there, they have a helicopter coming in.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now, the pictures in the terminal, they're all airplanes now.
Nothing by local artists?
No, no, unless they paint airplanes.
said turbines.
Yeah. I don't know. But no, that's, so back to the coordinator, that's basically all I've got. But the point is that with a combination of plantings and Kenny getting involved and everything else, it should look, we're getting there.
Good.
It's looking good.
Sports council, quick.
Yeah,
Um,
doesn't have to be quick.
No, it'll be quick. So I don't know if you all know, there's the sports council and there's an executive committee, so to speak, that's Jeff Aaronstone is chairing, Brian Magnus is sort of co-chair, Tatiana Reinbold, she's from Placid Planet, and also with Beta, Mark Galvin and myself are on that. We met sort of, I won't say urgently, but once the CEO for Orta was chosen, one of the tasks that we're working on is reestablishing the Board Advisory Committee. And it's the job of the Lake Placid Sports Council to pick the 10 members that will represent the town on the Board Advisory. And then Orta has 9. Well, 2 are one from Warren County, one from, I think there's 3 from different counties.
Down near Bel Air.
Right.
Yeah.
And then the rest are Orta picks. But so we actually very quickly went through and got 12 people that we thought would represent the town appropriately and also match them with what's their specialty. Is it cross country? Is it luge?
That's great.
So, and we had a couple of really heavy hitters, and I just learned today that both are excited. So we thought, yeah, we'll give it a shot. But anyhow, that'll obviously this board will review those names, and if there's any that stick out,
So then for this
executive session.
direction, should I let this advisory, 5 members, meet separately with Joe Martens and Ashley on just that topic? And you can brief the rest of the board as you proceed, because we can't do it in reverse because you guys are reinventing this.
Right. So whatever you think, they're really leaning for, or looking for your advice on what's the best direction. So do we meet with Ashley? Do we meet with Martens? Do we meet with our Lucy and Bill Beanie?
I think on the protocol, I thought I'd start with Joe Martens, period. And get his, because he knows I want our 3 town reps involved, but he's got total respect for Bill and Art, so there won't be a problem there. I'm gonna brief him on our initial meeting, on just the basic direction we wanna go in, and kind of leave it in his hands until he's ready to bring Ashley into the mix. Because Mike Pratt wrote me, wanted to know if the roundtable was on for tomorrow. Told him, no, the 13th, and it will be, I can't say all of this.
No.
We're recorded. But in any respect, I know Chad will be coming to that next week. He only relayed to me that he would be here until the end of this week. And then, like we know, there's a Craigwood thing. Was it September 29th?
Yes.
Yeah. I have to find out more about that. Chad will bring me up to speed next week.
And the last order of business was, how are we going to pick members? Because there'll be members of the Lake Placid Sports Council. And that was another thing that it was in some of the documents, it says North Elba Sports Council, but it was changed.
So we accepted which version?
Lake Placid Sports Council.
Okay.
Was changed in the latest, in 1982.
Okay.
So anyhow, so what we decided is we're going to select sports and then let the organizations and let them pick the members. So data, you've got one, sort of like the rail trails.
Okay.
You've got one seat. And already, oh boy, Smith, the new North Elba, Tracy Smith. So
yeah.
She's reached out. I'll be meeting with her next week.
Good.
Because there's some misunderstanding between the Lake Placid Sports Council and the Adirondack Sports Council.
Oh, and by the way, that's Gary Smith's wife, remember?
Oh, it is?
We were like, what is that?
Oh, okay, now I got it.
Yeah.
Okay. I was wondering if, was the wife the same name, Smith got common, who is it? Okay, gotcha. So that's the 11 years in town.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's.
So you'll keep us apprised of what the perceived link is between Lake Placid Sports Council and Adirondack?
Yes.
Yeah.
And right now, I think it's going to be, and I know it's going to be, basically they're on a roost.
Right.
Doing events, going after events, any way we can help them.
Yeah.
With volunteers, with whatever.
So now,
for them.
Just for clarification, we have the 5 of you that oversee Sports Council and the advisory board. You're the executive committee.
Correct.
Then you transfer that into 10 serving members on the board.
Right.
Of which have nothing to do with potential new sports council.
Correct.
Okay.
It could be. In fact, Mark Galvin,
yeah.
Mark and I said we would rather not be on the board advisory board. Just, there's too many conflicts.
Okay.
So they could put somebody else on there.
Okay. So does that 10-member board have to elect a chair for that group?
Yes. Well,
that's the way I remember
the
reading.
19 of them will.
Oh,
actually.
Okay.
Yeah. The 19 from Ordis, from the 3 counties, and then
okay.
But I asked them, they said, no, the town doesn't need to vote on it. I said, well, I think we need to. You are at the will of the town. So
yeah, they're under our office.
Right, able to approve or just, give a thumbs up or thumbs
You
down.
mentioned rail trail, so I'd like to bring up, I don't believe we've talked about, because you two are rail trail. And there's a meeting.
They've got public meetings on their DC now.
Tomorrow or next Wednesday, one or the other. But anyway, you're supposed to bring 2 donations from the town. We usually always give a round of golf for 4 cards. I'm trying to think, what else can we do for,
12.
when is it, next Wednesday?
12.
Okay,
I think
I don't have that in my.
I just put it as the second Tuesday of the month.
Oh,
I'm not,
that's
I'm
fine.
still not getting emails or anything.
you aren't? I've sent,
I know, you've CC'd me in on every single one of them, so.
okay,
I was excited I got one, but it was because of my affiliation with them from previous.
okay.
So
I have the 6 tickets that they're looking for, so I'll buy those. But when you go to the meeting, I'll give it to one of you guys to turn them in. But anyway, we're supposed to bring, I think, 2 donations for it. Craigwood is the easy one, unless we give 2,
Is it for the silent auction or something like that?
I think so.
yeah, it's gonna be for some sort of.
Yeah,
When is the fundraiser?
I'll have to go back and look.
Do we give away Flying Shoe
Yeah,
passes?
we do.
Plus, if it's before the October race, I'll be happy to give, a couple of registrations for that.
What date is yours, 16?
7th.
7. You gotta let me know if you wanna sign me up for a volunteer.
I got you in a key spot, so.
Yeah, but don't forget, I want to volunteer too. I want a good job.
Yeah.
Yeah. Your definition of good job.
I know.
All right. What else you got? Anything? What do you got, Emily?
I don't remember what committees I'm on, so I don't think I have.
I want you guys to start thinking about what committees you want, because really committee reports are more infrequent. We seem to cover everything, either through emails or during the week and stuff, so it's not so imperative. And I'm only telling you this because moving into next year, I'm not going to be on any committees. I think it will be a good transition, if you will, to put new blood in front of people. So you can start thinking about how you want to do things. And I'm not opposed to, like the 3 of you, committees are going to continue to be hard for Jason because of his job. So if we take the primary committees, I'm not opposed to assigning the 3 of you to it, and collectively you decide what 2 of you go on different things. It might be a better workable situation. I mean, it's highway, landfill, park district.
Yeah, that's good.
That's it in a nutshell.
Yeah, that's what it is.
So anyway, we got time to worry about that. I don't see a need for executive session. There's no one here for press and questions, unless there's anything on your mind that we need to go into executive session on. With that being said, I'll take a motion to adjourn.
So.
Rick, second by Dick. I'm sure there's no further discussion. Everybody's in favor? That one passed.
I love it.